Medium man, physical medium man, physical medium man. What'd you buy? Was it something good?
What's up, guys? Physical Media Man back here again for another Physical Media Man Monday video. I have a different video. This is going to be my top 10 favorite records in my vinyl collection. Got this idea from Plaid X2, John over on his channel. I'll try to remember to leave the link down below to his video. He did this video himself and thought it was pretty cool, so I figured I'd share my top 10 favorite ones in my collection. So before I get started, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, leave feedback, do all that good stuff down below. I'll leave the links to my Instagram page, my Physical Media Man Store Instagram page, my Facebook page for the Physical Media Man / Physical Media Man Store, my Facebook page for non-media related items to Hodgepodge Garage, my email, my eBay, my Twitter, and my Letterboxd account. Okay, so I've been collecting vinyl for quite a while. I think I have a vinyl collection video out there. I'll try to remember to leave the link down below to that too. I actually, probably junior high, early high school maybe, I started collecting some of the vinyl collection and ended up, I didn't have a record player at that point. I just thought they were neat. Probably late in high school, early college, my mom ended up getting me a record player. Then I really got into it just because I thought it sounded so good on the record player, and it was just a fun thing to do. And at that time, they were really inexpensive, so I still have some, and I think I'll show at least one with a price tag on it that I got when I was collecting early on. So without further ado, first up, these are in no particular order. We got the Steve Miller Band, Book of Dreams. And the reason why this one's important to me is it was my wife and I, one of our first kind of dates when we were in college at Terre Haute. A friend of the show, Matt, was also with us. Kind of went, he joined at least on some thrifting, and this was one of the items I picked up. And this is just a great soundtrack, or not soundtrack, great album. We got Jet Airliner, Swingtown, Jungle Love. So really happy to have this one in the collection, and it's important to me because of that, and I'll always remember that really fun day with one of my best friends and my wife, who at the time I didn't know she was going to be my wife, and we just had a great time, and it was a really memorable day. So I definitely cherish that album there. Next up, don't really remember honestly where I got this, and I just think it's just so neat, so random. Definitely a talking piece. If I was to show anybody something from my collection, this would definitely be right up there. And there's actually a couple pretty good songs on it, but we got some Bruce Willis with Return of the Bruno. So yeah, he made a music album, and it's really not too bad. It's just really neat though. As a big movie fan and a fan of Bruce Willis, I definitely love having this in my collection. I know Under the Boardwalk is probably the most well-known one on this. I think Respect Yourself was pretty good too, if I remember right. There was one other song, definitely not too bad, but just so cool to have something like this in the collection. So that's why I'm putting it as one of my top 10 favorites to have in my vinyl collection. Next up, the next two, I have the cassettes too. So we got the cassette of Legend, Bob Marley and the Wailers. This is somewhat of a like a cheat almost, but this is his greatest hits. So all the songs are amazing. So Legend, the best of Bob Marley. So I definitely want to have this in the collection. Another thing about vinyl is I really like getting the, doesn't necessarily have to be first pressing or anything, but like the vintage records I really enjoy getting. So I think I ended up getting this on eBay, but these two cassettes, this one and the next one, just remind me of my childhood, and listen. So this was the one we listened to a lot when I was growing up. Put it on in the car, and yeah, there's just so many good songs on it, so you can't go wrong with that one. And then next up, kind of same thing, like I said. So I got the cassette. We got Rudy, the soundtrack. Amazing score by Jerry Goldsmith, and I remember listening to this one all the time in the car too. It was like the perfect cassette to listen to going to my grandparents, because you could listen to the whole thing and then you were there basically. So I'm a big Notre Dame fan, if you aren't aware. So I love this music. I love the soundtrack. And I got this when I was up in South Bend a few years ago for a Notre Dame game. And a couple of years ago, I ended up getting it autographed by Angelo Pizzo, the person that wrote the movie. He also wrote Hoosiers and some other stuff. And it's actually a gold vinyl, which is really neat since it's Notre Dame. So I got that brand new on campus, and I've been listening to it every year before the season starts to get me excited. I can get it back in here. Next up, we got one more soundtrack. I tried to kind of stay away from it, but these two, like I said, are my favorites in my collection, and really a couple of my favorite things in all of my collections between movies and everything. So this next one is one that my parents got for me for Christmas a few years ago, and this is the Mondo release, Home Alone, original motion picture soundtrack composed and conducted by John Williams. And this is just, the music of course is great, but just such a neat release with the house and the windows, and you can switch this out and make it dark. Just the amount of detail that went into this, and of course it's my second favorite movie of all time, and it and Jurassic Park are almost interchangeable for me. And the music's so good, and I love putting it on every Christmas. And this is worth quite a bit of money now. I think it was fairly expensive to begin with, but now it's even worth more. So I definitely cherish having that one in the collection. Next up, I'm pretty sure this was a friend of the show, Cooper, his mom's copy, which I got from his dad at one point or another, because it's got her name on it. And I don't think I was really into him as much then, but this album especially is fantastic. You can listen to the whole thing. We got Fleetwood Mac, Rumors. So, you got Dreams, Don't Stop, Go Your Own Way, The Chain. So just an amazing album, and one that we listen to quite a bit whenever we get the record player going. So had to include that one. Next up, friend of the show, Lewis Switcher, introduced me to Slim Dunlap. I was on the hunt a long time for the CDs. He had 2 CDs. And I found this was on Amazon. You got both of them on vinyl. So this is Slim Dunlap, both of his albums, My New Old Records, The Old New Me, and Times Like These, or this, sorry. Just both phenomenal albums, and he has some health problems, some severe health problems. He's in rough shape, and like all the proceeds from this go to his fund, which also makes it even more neat. So if you haven't checked out or listened to any Slim Dunlap, I definitely recommend him. Just great music. Rockin' Here Tonight, I think, was the first one I heard on a Lewis Switcher video, and I think I asked him about it, what it was or whatever, and I've been a fan ever since. So that's definitely one of my favorites. Partners in Crimes. I mean, especially The Old New Me, is such a phenomenal album. Times Like This is a great song, as well as the rest of that album too. But for me, it's The Old New Me. But this is a prized item in my vinyl collection. Next up, I definitely want to include something for my parents' vinyl collection. a few years back, they gave me all their vinyl records. So I decided to pick the Doors. It was between this and some of their Beatles stuff. And I just thought this was different, and it's a really good album. Break on through to the other sides on it, Light My Fire, so as well as the end. So just neat to have something for my parents' collection. I mean, I guess I have all of them in my collection, but I definitely wanted to include one from their collection, which is so neat to have in my collection now. So next up's one of my wife's and I's favorites, our favorite band, Dave Matthews Band. We got Big Whiskey and the Grugux King. I also have, I think, Crash, but I really wanted to include this one because we both listen to this one a lot. Another one I remember listening to on a trip to a certain town around me, where I would be able to listen to the whole thing. Just so many good songs, and this was really when I started getting into them a lot more. And we've since seen them together in concert quite a few times and are going this year, so definitely love that one. All right, and lastly, so this is another one I got very cheap. This was only $1. We got Bad Company. This was one of my early purchases. Looks like I got it at Rasputin's, which, if I remember right, was on a trip to San Francisco. And this music store, was like 3 stories. It was unreal. I got a lot of cool vinyl. At the time, I didn't have the record player, but since then, I've listened to this a ton. Not a bad song on it. Another one you can just completely listen to, and one of my favorites. So it's got Can't Get Enough, Rocksteady, Don't Let Me Down, Bad Company, and Seagull. So just an amazing album that I definitely love. So those are my 10 favorite items in my vinyl collection for various reasons. I hope you enjoyed this different video. I guess this doesn't have the same effect as I'll just go ahead and make it my thumbnail though, I guess, as a Blu-ray stack, but I had a lot of fun putting this together and picking out my 10 favorite titles in the vinyl collection. Hope you enjoyed this. If you haven't yet done so, please make sure to subscribe. This is Physical Media Man signing off. Physical media will never die. Physical Media Man. Physical Media Man. Physical Media Man. Yeah!